sister named Luca. Luca was just like any other normal baby, but I was different. I was born with rainbow-colored hair, but my parents saw me as nothing more than a defective child. Luca was deeply loved by our parents. She was always carried in our mother's arms, lulled to sleep, and showered with brand new toys. As for me, I had to hold my own milk bottle. My only toys were an empty cardboard box and an old microphone. Even Luca looked down on me. Whenever I tried to reach for one of her toys, she would snatch it away and glare at me with disgust. When we turned 7, we started school together. The other children pointed at my hair and laughed loudly. "She's so weird. Look at her hair." Instead of standing up for me, Luca made fun of me too. I shaved my hair, believing everything would finally change. But within seconds, it grew back. I couldn't stop crying until one day my grandmother came to visit. She witnessed the cold way my parents and Luca treated me, so she immediately decided to take me home to live with her. From that day on, I finally felt what love was. She would always hug me and say, "You are a special gift." One afternoon, while I was taking a walk with my grandmother, a photographer happened to spot me. He was completely amazed by my hair and said, "This is the most beautiful hair I've ever seen." We took a quick photo together just as a keepsake. Unexpectedly, that single photo went viral all over the internet. People everywhere became obsessed with the girl with the rainbow hair. Soon, people everywhere began dyeing their hair rainbow colors to look like me. Suddenly, my parents showed up at my grandmother's house. They brought expensive gifts and wore fake smiles, pretending they had always loved me. They begged me to come home. My grandmother shouted, "You only remembered her after the whole world did." My parents lowered their heads, unable to say another word. The very thing that made my own family reject me became the reason the whole world celebrated me. Should I forgive them?
So back when I was in elementary school, my older brother was kind of a weirdo. Honestly, I never knew what to expect from him. One day we were walking home after it had been raining cats and dogs. The sidewalks were completely flooded with muddy water. As we trudged along, my brother suddenly stopped dead in his track. Without warning, he bent down and shoved his bare hand deep into the very first puddle we passed. He was swirling his hand around in the mud, completely losing his mind. I stood there, frozen, watching him literally soak the entire sleeve of his jacket. I asked him, "Dude, what the heck are you doing? You're ruining your clothes." He just looked up at me with this completely deadpan, serious expression and said, "Sometimes there's money in these." I scoffed and thought he was just being an idiot, making up a dumb excuse for acting like a toddler. But then, literally 3 or 4 puddles later, he stopped. He reached deep into this one gross puddle near the curb, and I kid you not, when he pulled his hand back out, his mud-covered fingers were gripping something. He carefully wiped away the slime with his thumb and revealed a damp but unmistakably crisp $20 bill. My jaw literally dropped to the floor and I stood there unable to believe my own eyes. To this day, even after all these years, I still don't know the actual truth about that afternoon. Part of me thinks he legit found a treasure in the mud, but another part of me thinks he ganked it from somewhere else and planted it just to mess with me. He was always doing slick stuff like that to look cool. Either way, that one moment completely rewired my brain. He unlocked a brand new core memory for me. Now, fast forward years later, and I'm a fully grown person. But guess what I still do every single time it rains? Yep, I find myself staring down at every puddle on the street. I only do it when there are absolutely no witnesses around though, because I don't want people thinking I'm a total crazy person. But hey, you never know when you're gonna find another 20 bucks.
I was 7 years old when my parents decided I was invisible. In my family, everyone gets a magic gift. My brother got fire, and my sister got healing. But my hands were empty. I had no flashy powers. Because I was normal, my parents simply stopped caring about me. They didn't lock me away, but they treated me like a ghost in my own home. My siblings bullied me every day. And my parents always pretended not to see it. I cried in silence so many times, wishing I had a voice that mattered. One afternoon, my brother barged in and tried to burn my favorite teddy bear. Something inside me snapped. I was so angry my chest physically hurt. I looked right into his eyes and screamed, "Stop!" His fire vanished. His body froze completely. He couldn't even blink. I didn't understand it then, but I had the rarest gift of all, the voice of command. When my willpower is strong enough, whoever hears my voice must obey. 10 years passed. I kept my power a secret, watching my family ignore me. Until one night, everything changed. 3 masked robbers broke into our house, holding dangerous weapons. My brother tried to throw fire, but they knocked him out in one hit. Magic fire is useless against real weapons. My parents dropped to their knees, begging for their lives. One of the robbers raised his weapon at my sister. My mom screamed in horror. I slowly walked down the stairs. I wasn't scared at all. The robber turned around and pointed his weapon at my face. I looked at the 3 men, took a deep breath, and spoke. "Drop it!" Instantly, their weapons crashed to the floor. My family gasped, staring at me in total shock. "Kneel!" I commanded, and all 3 robbers smashed their knees into the ground, unable to resist. They were terrified, trapped inside their own bodies by my voice. "Leave and never come back!" They stood up and ran away as fast as they could. The room fell silent. My parents looked at the useless daughter who just saved their lives. Mom burst into tears and ran toward me with her arms wide open. She was finally ready to love me, but it was 10 years too late. "Don't touch me," I whispered. Her body froze in place, crying helpless tears. I grabbed my bag and walked out the door, leaving them with their guilt forever. Would you have forgiven them?
From the moment I was born, anything I touched turned into diamonds. At first, my family treated me like a treasure. My sister always competed to hold me. My parents spoiled me more than anything else in the house. They loved me even more whenever I created diamonds. But as I grew older, greed appeared. My parents forced me every day to create diamonds. They didn't care if I was tired or in pain. My sister began to take advantage of me. I was no longer asked if I was okay, only asked how many I had created today. One day I said my hands were starting to hurt. "Mom, my body isn't okay," and that I didn't want to continue anymore. Everything changed from that moment. My parents locked me in my room. They forced me to touch thousands of objects every day. Tables, chairs, glasses, jewelry, everything. The entire room was filled with sparkling diamonds. My hands trembled, but they didn't stop. When I refused, they immediately threatened me. "If you stop, you'll be kicked out of the house." Until one day, I couldn't take it anymore. I said I wanted to stop. Immediately, everything became worse. That night, the door opened. I woke up and understood what was about to happen. My parents and sister were approaching, their eyes cold. They believed that if they possessed those hands, they could create diamond forever. The moment the hammer touched my hand, my arm suddenly unleashed a force that threw my father away. No diamonds appeared, only rubble fell to the floor, and all the diamonds in the house turned back into dirt and stone. In that shattering silence, the truth finally became clear to me. Diamonds never came from my hands. They came from the love and purity within my heart, a heart they had thoroughly destroyed. My parents and sister didn't even notice me anymore. They started arguing and blaming each other. Without a single word, I turned my back on the chaos and walked out the open door into the cool night air. Do you think I made the right choice?
At the age of 6, a fire explosion in the house took away my parents. I had to move in with my Aunt Margaret and my cousin Sophia. From the very first day I stepped into that house, I understood. I was not welcome. Aunt Margaret looked at me like I was a burden. Sophia was the same age as me. Both of us had loved ballet since we were little. little, she was always Aunt Margaret's pride. Every day, Aunt Margaret took Sophia to the most famous ballet academy in the city. She hired the best teachers to train her. Meanwhile, I stayed home cleaning, washing clothes, and doing everything like a servant. While mopping the floor, I unconsciously spun along to the music coming from the old radio. I danced by instinct, until the sound of applause came from behind me. It was Sophia's ballet teacher. "This little girl is a genius!" The teacher kept praising me, making Aunt Margaret extremely uncomfortable. If Elena appears on stage, Sophia will have nothing left. I accidentally overheard the conversation between my aunt and one of her friends. That night, Aunt Margaret forbade me from ever dancing again. From then on, she forced me to work day and night. I had to wake up before sunrise to wash clothes, cook, and clean the entire house. Even so, whenever night fell, I still secretly practiced ballet alone. Ballet was the only thing that made me feel joy in life. Then the biggest ballet competition in the city was announced. I secretly signed up for the competition. When Aunt Margaret found out, she went furious. Before the competition day, she rushed into my room and used scissors to tear apart my competition dress. I burst into tears and ran over to stop her, but she pushed me onto the floor. "Please, stop!" Sophia was extremely upset when she saw it. "Stop it! Mom, you're so selfish!" She was immediately scolded harshly by her mother. After that, Aunt Margaret locked me inside the old attic, no matter how much I cried and begged. On the day of the competition, the whole street was lively like a festival. I was like a little bird trapped inside a cage. Trying to forget everything painful, I let myself drift along with the soft melody reaching my ears. I danced as if I were truly standing on a real stage. The scene of the little ballet girl dancing by the window was accidentally filmed and went viral all over the internet. After that day, I was recruited by the biggest